Joined us for the conversation. It is a conversation like no other. Business unusual here on Metro FM Talk, as we're bringing you a live broadcast, actually coming to you straight from the SABC studios anyways. But of course, this evening we are reflecting on a Human Rights Day, or Shuffle Day. We're also reflecting on this 30 years of democracy, but most importantly, we're doing so with individuals who represent political parties who are going to tell you why is it that you must vote for them come the 29th of May. We're also going to be reflecting on the past 30 years of this democracy to try and establish how much progress we've made, what we still need to achieve, and what we need to remain accountable for. Of course, we're still continuing with our political leaders. Nyaniso, I interrupted you there before we went to go pay some bills, but I was asking you on the preservation and the implementation of the rights of our young people, especially in the country.
Thank you very much, Faith. Let me greet my fellow panelists as well as the audience and listeners at home. Indeed, it's been 30 years of figuring out whether or not the promises which were made, particularly to the parents of the young people today, are anything worth listening to. It's been 30 years of trying to find out whether or not will we ever have free education. It's been 30 years of figuring out whether or not the working class will they ever live without medical aid in order to secure quality health care, because the public system of health, both clinics and hospital, is not working for them. It's been 30 years of trying to find out whether or not life is worth living, whether or not your vote guarantees you any sense of progress in life, because you understand that voters take part on election day and their role ends there. What happens afterwards is whoever has won the election is expected to take charge of the country and improve the quality of life. It's been 30 years where people are figuring out whether or not they will ever stop living in shacks, 30 years of figuring out whether or not they will ever stop watching their backs for crime. It's 30 years where we've seen the quality of life deteriorating. You're wondering wherever you're seated whether or not it will ever improve. Yes, the rights are guaranteed and enshrined in the Constitution, but it ends there. It's on the paper. What you are supposed to feel, you asked earlier whether or not you are supposed to, if leaders have failed to teach people about their rights. It's not even something you're supposed to be taught. You're supposed to feel and experience the rights, the quality of life, the right to free education, the right to employment, the right to improvement of the standard of living. It is not something you're supposed to be taught. You must feel it, experience it, live it every day, such that you don't even need to ask whether or not I do have rights as South African. Young people today are faced with NSFAS, having to qualify or not qualify. They must worry where they are going to sleep. They must worry how they are going to study. They must worry of defunding and all these other things that they should not have to worry about. No young person must ever have to worry whether or not they are going to get through their education, because it's happening now. You can't get through your studies, you can't qualify. Even when you've graduated, even if you drop out, the quality of education you are given does not guarantee you sustainability as a human being right now. Nobody is guaranteed whether or not after graduating they will find employment, or the business idea they have, it will enable them to live. Because after all, we do these things to be able to live quality of life in the democratic dispensation.
So then there's this general understanding and consensus, and you're getting a clap for that one. And a question that was coming in there from ATM, one of your members, of course, looking at how is it that you're going to be addressing the issues of illegal foreign nationals that are infiltrating or influxing our country. And of course, because they're undocumented, there are other subsequent consequences of such.
Thank you very much. Indeed, the issue of illegal immigration in South Africa is a big problem, but it is caused by porous borders which are not tightly controlled, not tightly managed. In fact, we need to deploy resources to ensure that there's no free entry to South Africa and that everybody who comes in through law. In fact, those who come to South Africa illegally, by any means they attempt, they should be declared that they've committed treason. Because if you go to a country without legal means and you enter there illegally, there is no other thing that you are there to do. You're only there to commit crime because they are undocumented, and that makes it difficult to plan. So we need to make sure that our borders are tightly controlled. Also, we need to make sure that law enforcement agencies are well equipped. Our police must be equipped. You must bring on board police reservists to help fight that crime, so that it is known that South Africa is not a place where you can commit crime and get away with it. And that's the biggest problem by anybody who's committing crime. Our laws do not bite. Our justice system does not bite. People do as they please. As soon as we've got a tightly controlled and a justice system that bites, criminals must think twice before attempting to do any crime. And that is what we must be able to do to control porous borders. We must control them. We must deploy. They must be monitored. And we must be serious about this to protect South Africans. The Labor Department must deploy practitioners to go and do some investigation and check all the businesses that are operating. You cannot continue operating a business of any kind without Labor Department knocking to find out if the owner is legal, if this business is doing everything right. It is everything that is fair now that is happening. Environmental health practitioners can also be brought on board so that those who are owning spaza shops as illegal foreign nationals, they can know that at any given point, an environmental health practitioner will come knocking, demanding documents, demanding to see if the things that you are selling them are indeed of legal. So there's a whole lot of things that we must do, but that can only be done by a government who is serious, who has got love for its people and want to protect their people.
Well, let's give you an opportunity as well to gauge with our politicians. 0860 00